I know it's been a minute since I posted a video, just a little over a week. But if you've been following me for 3 or 4 years, that shouldn't be a surprise to you, because you would already know that sometimes I post a video every 2 weeks, sometimes I post a video 3 times a day, or sometimes I post a video once a month or once every 2 months. I'm just random like that. Again, I say I post videos whenever I feel like posting a video, when I get that drive. All right, let's get in. I feel like talking about this fight today. I feel like sharing that with the peoples, with the Raw Nation. So today is one of those days. And I'm going to go ahead and let's talk about this fight. Gary Russell Jr. versus Vasyl Lomachenko. Good fight. Before I get into that fight, I would just like to say something to some of my Twitter followers who have been sending me private messages. Yo, you're scaring us with those videos you're sharing with us on Twitter. You know, you need to understand some people just can't handle that, or just some people don't like that. Understand something. When I'm sharing those videos with you, it doesn't mean that I'm trying to scare you. When I'm sharing those videos with you, it's because I want you guys to be aware of what's going on, both in the physical world and in the spiritual world. I want you to understand what's going on around you, whether it is through me or through other sources. But I want you to at least have the beginning of what could be your future depending on. So I'm just trying to sort of like give you a little bit of education on those subjects. There's nothing wrong with educating a man. You know, back in the days, I heard this yesterday, and I thought this would be great to tell those guys that are scared. But I heard this from Dr. Ben Carson yesterday. Back in the days, why do you think that it was illegal to educate a slave? Huh? Because when you educate a man, you liberate a man. So I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to share this with you. You watch it if you want to, you know, you follow it if you want to. But at least if you do decide to follow it because you take an interest on it, that at least you start to begin this new educational road that will educate you on a lot of things going on around us. Back to the fight, because I don't want to preach in front of this camera. I know Psycho Boxing Fan, in one of his comments, he said, Cubans make good preachers. That is true. But I'm not preaching here today. So let's go ahead and get back to this fight. Vasyl Lomachenko versus Gary Russell Jr. Interesting fight. Why do I say interesting fight? First of all, one hand we got Gary Russell Jr., who many people claim has not been tested because he has not fought anybody. A lot of people claim his mouth, it's a lot bigger than his actual credibility as a fighter. And then on the other hand, we have Vasyl Lomachenko, who has 2 professional fights. And his record is the 1-1. 1 victory, 1 defeat, 1 knockout. You might say, wow, the guy came into the pros and had a shot at his 2nd professional fight. And he lost. And now he's getting a shot at another decent name. I call that disrespect. That's what I call that. And this has nothing to do with Vasyl Lomachenko. This is all in all to do with Top Rank. Okay? Because you see, we first have the excuses, well, Rigondeaux just doesn't sell, right? That's why we can't get him big fights, right? But then you got Vasyl Lomachenko, who nobody even knows as a pro, really, because, yeah, you've seen his amateur fights, but a lot of you don't count that as experience, right? A lot of you, oh, he's just an amateur. Then he came in to fight a stepping stone But now Top Rank is trying to shove him through your throat. And a lot of you are accepting him. A lot of you are well aware of the fact that you shouldn't accept this. So I call that disrespect. This fight is a disrespect to the sport. This fight calls for fans to rise up and not even watch that fight. And I'm sorry for both fighters, because they're the ones that are going to pay for this. If fans decide not to really watch this fight. But really, it's just a disrespect from Top Rank. You got other fighters that you should be promoting instead of demoting. Yet you take this Vasyl Lomachenko guy and you want to give him all sorts of opportunity. What you're doing is you're ruining a guy's career, period. So let's get into this fight. Vasyl Lomachenko, a fighter who is very experienced. He was this phenom as an amateur, right? And now as a pro boxer, he won his first fight. In his second fight, he went into against a tough brawler. And the tough brawler implemented something that the fresh boxer did not know how to implement, which was the inside game. Orlando Salido digged to that body. And, you know, we do know the style of Salido. That's his style, you know. Came in, head in, just slugging it out. And Vasyl just couldn't handle him on the inside. Vasyl thought he was on the Olympics, holding, waiting for the ref to separate him. And no, this is pro. If the guy comes in, go in, fight him. Unless you have the skills to hit, move out of the way. I can't knock you for that. That's part of boxing after all. But he lost that fight convincingly. Okay? In that fight, he was so shocked by what Salido was doing on the inside. He was so shocked at the fact that maybe the referee is not intervening that he just pretty much did not throw a lot of his jabs, which he should have, because against Salido would have worked perfectly. You use that jab as a distance measure and as a way to hit and move, implement, you know, movements in the ring, implement attacks. But he didn't. He did not use that jab. And it cost him because the veteran took advantage of that and kept digging. And kept digging because that's all he can do. I mean, you're not going to have Salido go out there and just out-slick this dude. So he did what he could to win. And he won. Congratulations, Salido. So he lost that opportunity given to him. And all of us thought, wow, now, you know, this is good in a way, because now he needs to realize that he needs to fight a good 5 or 6 stepping stones. And, you know, with the amateur skills that he's got, you know, between 5 or 6 fights, he should be ready to start hitting that title shot bout. But no, that was not the case. Bob Arum, the promoter that most of you love, is giving them to you again, versus a fighter who has experience as a pro and who has experience as an amateur. I'm not downing Vasyl Lomachenko at all. I'm just trying to explain to you what is being done by his promotional company. As a fighter, if I was given the opportunity that Lomachenko has been given, you know, it would have been my choice to say yes or no. And I guess he said, let's do it. Because he trusts his skills, but he's not realizing what's happening here. Gary Russell Jr., very fast, very slick. Many people think you haven't fought no one. Count me in. But nevertheless, you have good skills. You possess blinding speed, confidence, good ring generalship. Good, not excellent. Good ring generalship. They give you this fighter. Now you got a blueprint, right? That not always works, because you're not the same fighter that Salido is, right? So now your job is to fall in to Lomachenko's game, which is the boxing game. So a boxer versus a boxer, that day it will demonstrate who possesses the better boxing skills if Gary Russell decides to go into a boxing match versus this man. This is a very intriguing fight, guys. Just because Salido beat Lomachenko don't mean he can lose this next fight, because styles make fight. Now Lomachenko has a style in front of him that's more fitted to what he needs, which is somebody that's going to try to box him, keep him at a mid-range or longer range, for him to implement his amateur skills in this fight, right? So we have Gary Russell Jr., who hasn't fought anybody pretty much, right? And we have Lomachenko going at it. This is a fight that really boils down, really. And the way I'm going to say it, a lot of you will not agree with, but it's something I'm used to. But this is a fight that boils down to what type of fight Lomachenko brings on that night. Lomachenko comes in that night using his leg, jabbing constantly, using what he knows. It could be a very hard fight for Gary Russell Jr. If Gary Russell Jr. comes in displaying skills at a mid-range and inside game, now he's making it uncomfortable for Lomachenko. It's one of those fights that I don't know who to pick. I really hate to use the 50-50 term, because I don't personally agree all the time with the 50-50 term. But again, it's one of those fights that it depends what each fighter brings to the table. I will give you, I guess, a double prediction, if that makes any sense. If Gary Russell Jr. comes in to box, he could either have a bad fight or lose this fight. If he comes in implementing speed at a mid-range or inside game, he could possibly win this fight fairly easy. But who's to say that Gary Russell Jr. is skilled enough to bring that type of fight for a... There's a lot more things that play into this fight. And it comes down to the experience in the amateur. Not experience throwing punches, but experience in the dirty realm of pro boxing. Things that Lomachenko has not yet learned. Things that could be prevented if Gary Russell Jr. decides to come in and try to outbox Lomachenko. Then Lomachenko ain't got to worry about that inside dirty trick. Now he's got a more comfortable opponent in front of him. So on that date, may the best man win. If Gary Russell Jr., who has been talking a little smack, wins this fight, or if Lomachenko wins this fight, we still have a possibility of seeing Rigondeaux fight either of this guy. If the Cold War ends, Rigo has already said he's moving up to 126 after this fight. I think the fight is off. I'm not sure. I think the fight's off, but I might be wrong on that one. If either of this fighter wins, they got a chance of fighting Rigondeaux. Now Gary Russell has no excuse to say, you know, Rigo cannot get past my jab. Now he has to show Rigo cannot get past his jab. So until then, I'm out. Subscribe, share this video on Twitter, everywhere, and on Facebook.